go to the county board, but one of my coworkers already on there, and I don't think they'd like to have two people from the same office.
Good point.
Why don't you bring that later?
Sure.
Yeah.
I like to do it. Good feeding. I've had it for a while. Good training.
Dad,
It's also pretty
it's just been, very difficult.
You know, it could be. I got it out of the Augusta. Sherry had it.
Only if you got enough the right thing to do.
He's embedded in Iraq. I didn't know he was in Iraq.
Give us a minute, we'll get that light on, and we'll start the meeting here.
I mean, to his credit, I think he's trying to earn brownie points with the Republican National Committee. He's getting himself out there in harm's way. I did not know. Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. And he's sort of the last person in the world that he thinks that. But he's he's quite fun, yeah. He's affable, very nice.
Will Kelleher is the chair. He's what?
I don't know. That's what it is. I know. And with Michelle Roberts, not
My former associate.
I don't know if we're allowed or not. They don't like going there.
Come on.
The light's supposed to come on?
Hey, there's no light on.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. Okay.
Okay.
No one told me that. Okay. Okay. Good evening, everybody. I would like to call to order the Board of Assessment Review for Tuesday, March 18th. Could we get a roll call, please, Tracy?
Mrs. Fuente? Here. Mr. Herrick?
Here.
Mr. Conzel?
Here.
Mr. Frothingham?
Here.
Mr. Peoples?
Here.
Mr. Parkinson?
Here.
May we all rise and pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next order of business is the approval of the minutes from January 21st Board of Assessment Review meeting. Everybody had a chance to read through those. Can we have a motion to accept them, please?
I'll motion to accept the minutes as presented if no one has any comments.
Okay. Any comments on the minutes?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, thank you. We got a second, and all in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Approved, unanimous. Thank you very much. Your copy. All right, which just brings us to the main matter at hand tonight, which is the finding of facts for 30 blocks of Cherrydale, Prouts Neck waterfront fields. Turn this over to you at this point.
Okay, good evening, members of the board. As you requested at our last meeting, I've drafted sample findings of facts and conclusions for your consideration. I have extra copies in case anybody would, let me just put two of them down here, Warren.
All set.
You all set? You got one? Yeah.
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. As you know, under your regulations, you can designate someone to draft findings of fact, and you've designated me to draft them, but the important thing is for you to read these carefully and to edit them as you see fit. I did attempt to incorporate the wording, some of the wordings, and most all the comments from your deliberation session, which seems like it goes back so far with all the snowstorms, but I think it was January 7th. So,
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, if you have a couple extra copies, can we follow along?
I would actually prefer, because it's in draft form, that we not do that, so that, because I think there could be substantial changes to the draft.
If you're going to change the outcome, we're pleased to write the right.
I'm not sure if substantial goes to that point.
It wasn't quite that substantial.
Yeah.
So there may be substantial changes. One of the questions that's come up since we last met is about one of the property owners, and that is, the David Shaw property at 542 Black Point Road. And, one of the things I tried to do was get a clear list of who the appellants were, and that's on Exhibit A, and circulated that to the attorneys, John Block, Bill Dale, and John had a couple of folks that had either dismissed their appeal or weren't pursuing it, so we modified that list slightly. One that he asked to be added was the David Shaw Trust for 542 Black Point Road. The the assessor's attorney, Rob Crawford, objected to David Shaw being included on that list on the basis of, for a number of reasons, but one reason is that the property isn't waterfront property, and that the appeal was never actively pursued. It wasn't on any of the maps that were part of your evidence. There was also a question about whether they were actually bringing a discrimination case. Their forms only talked about an unjust valuation case. So I'm recommending that you eliminate the David Shaw case as from the list of appellants, and then that matter will just sort of be left because it wasn't actively pursued. I see John Block nodding that that's an appropriate procedure.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, John.
That
So-
would be, in that case, would it be considered deemed denied?
Yes.
Okay.
Good question.
We're fine with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what I'm going to do is on the first page of the notice of decision, the number has been floating around. I think now the new number is 20 waterfront properties. If you add them up. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. So on your Exhibit A, cross out the David Shaw Trust and count the remaining ones, and I think it adds up to 20.
Yep, correct.
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, do you want me to do what I've done before, where I sort of read some and then taken some breaks, and then you talk, and then go from there?
Yes, I think that's a good idea. Kathy?
In the introduction, on the first page, you have the date of February 13th. I thought we canceled that meeting because of weather.
Into my notes.
Or did we meet on that Thursday? I thought there was a snowstorm.
That's when you were supposed to meet, and it was canceled.
Right, and that date of February 13th is
That's why we're
in,
meeting tonight.
correct. That's what I thought.
Okay, you're absolutely
It's
right.
the 1, 2, 3, actually,
Yeah, I had written these before then, thinking
Oh,
we were going
okay.
to show up on February 13th, and then
and we all
got the word.
That'll be March
Okay, so that has to be stricken,
18th.
please.
March 18th. Good point.
Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, so I'm going to just start reading unless anybody has any introductory comments. By agreement with the appellants, parentheses, the appellants, the Town of Scarborough Board of Assessment Review, the BOAR, and the Town of Scarborough's Assessor's Office, the assessor, the board considered on a consolidated basis the appeals of 20 waterfront property owners listed on the attached Exhibit A and located at Prouts Neck in the Town of Scarborough. These appeals were filed on a timely basis.
I would strike the word "and" previous to located.
Okay, that's,
The appeals of 22 waterfront property owners located at Prouts Neck.
yeah, that just makes it a little sharper. Keep going. Very good. Appellant's appeal centers
Yeah, just center.
solely upon the question of whether the 2012 reevaluation and 2012 assessment of the appellant's properties were discriminatory. Oh, and I have something,
Whatever they are.
I don't know what the "they are" is. Okay.
You had a thought, you stopped.
Yeah. Public hearings on the consolidated appeals were held on December 10th, 2013 and January 7th, 2014. The BOAR deliberated on the appeals on January 21st, 2014 and March 18th, 2014. Board members Alan Peoples, Chris Herrick, William Frothingham, and Alex Conchal were present at each of the hearings and deliberation sessions. Kathy, pay attention to this, special attention to this next paragraph. Board member Kathy Fuente was present on December 10th, at the December 10th, 2013 public hearing, but left early from the public hearing on January 7th, 2014. She confirmed on the record that she listened to the recording of the balance of the January 7th, 2014 public hearing.
That 2014 is not right.
Yeah, through 2000.
2104.
Change.
Yeah.
2104.
Yeah, I got an extra number in there. Yep. Okay, by agreement, the time frame for issuance of the BOR decisions under statute was extended to February 28th. Actually, now that's been extended to March 31st. The appellants were represented by Jonathan Block, Esquire, and William Dale, Esquire, the assessor by Robert Crawford, Esquire, and the BOIR by Durwood Parkinson, Esquire. Under the BOIR's rules of procedure and standards, the assessor's presentation is made first, followed by the appellants, and then rebuttal. The BOIR received and considered numerous written exhibits. The cover letter and accompanying report of Maine Revenue Services, MRS, entitled Review of 2012 Tax Assessment, Scarborough, Maine, was entered into the record as Town Exhibit 5. Following the public hearing, appellants objected to the omission of this exhibit. The BOIR allowed the exhibit to remain in evidence because there was significant testimony about the report during the proceedings, especially from MRS representative David Ledoux. All BOIR members except board member Frothingham reviewed the MRS report. So far, so good?
So far, so good.
The BOIR heard oral testimony from Paul Lesperance, the former assessor now serving as special deputy assessor, David Ledoux, Maine Revenue Services, George Koudalakis, appellant's expert, Wesley Craig, appellant's expert, William Healy, the current assessor. Based on findings and conclusions, based upon the BOIR's evaluation of the evidence on the record, it makes the following findings and conclusions. The appeal concerns 20 waterfront properties in the Prouts Neck section of the town of Scarborough.
Oh, let's get rid of that next sentence.
Yeah, and it says, by agreement of the owner of the property located in the David Shaw Trust, that sentence, I'm going to delete that sentence, the reasons we just talked about. The assessor, the assessor continually tracks hundreds of sales and transfers occurring in the town of Scarborough each year. The assessor completes studies of sales/assessment ratios, both on a town-wide and neighborhood basis, to keep the ratio as close to 100% as possible. Keep going.
Yep.
The last town-wide re-evaluation occurred in 2005.
Can we switch those two paragraphs?
Yeah. That makes sense to everybody?
You know, the last townwide, and then go to
Yep.
number
2 and 3
2.
you talking about?
Excuse me?
Are you talking about paragraph 2 and 3?
Yes, sir.
Change them?
That's just, I'm asking if,
Everybody okay with that?
Sure.
That'd be fine.
You good?
thank you.
Okay. In 2012, after analysis of sales data, Paul Lesperance increased the assessment of waterfront properties at Prouts Neck, Higgins Beach, Pine Point, and the interior portion of Pillsbury Shores. He considered each of these distinct neighborhoods, which cannot be exactly compared to other waterfront or non-waterfront areas within the town. Let me just read that again. He considered each of these distinct neighborhoods, which cannot be exactly compared to other waterfront or non-waterfront areas within the town.
I would suggest the addition of the word, or the change to the sentence, that he considered each of these distinct neighborhood markets.
Neighborhood markets. Okay. Everybody okay with that? On a townwide basis, Lesperance testified that he reduced assessments in other areas if the sales data established a trend of lower sales prices. He testified that 754 parcels were adjusted in 2012, with far more decreases in assessment assessments than increases. All property sales are reported to MRS. Maybe that should be a separate sentence.
No, that can stay there.
Okay. Okay. Based upon the sales data, we're at number 6, Lesperance does not believe the recession beginning in 2008 had a major impact on sales prices of waterfront properties within the town of Scarborough.
Good.
In Prouts Neck, the assessor considered whether the properties are waterfront or interior and whether they are located inside or outside the private gated area. Waterfront properties inside the gate
Or increased, not increase.
were increased, thank you very much, by 15% and outside the gate by 10%. Lesperance, next paragraph 8, Lesperance presented credible evidence that sales data supported increased assessments on Prouts Neck waterfront properties. He found that the waterfront properties were selling at a significantly higher price than their assessed values, with assessment ratios in the 70 to 80% range. 9, the sales data summaries submitted into evidence by the assessor support Lesperance's decision. The assessor appropriately relied on 8 waterfront properties at Prouts Neck,
Sales at Prouts Neck.
property sales at Prouts Neck. Evidence shown on Town Exhibit 4A. I think that needs to be cleaned up a little bit. The assessor appropriately relied on 8 waterfront properties sales at Prouts Neck.
As shown,
Comma, at
Yes.
Prouts Neck, comma, evidence shown in,
as shown in Town Exhibit 4A.
As shown in,
You could strike evidence.
yep. Okay. In a particular instance, 10, and the BOAR observed that the buyer of 31 Winslow Homer Drive appeared to have paid a premium price for the property, but the sale is still instructive as to the demand for waterfront property in the neighborhood.
I was thinking of even just omitting that whole thing, number 10. I don't know.
You're saying it should be omitted?
Yeah,
I remember the board talking about that, saying that it was an odd situation, or maybe a bit of an odd situation, but it still was relevant. I remember it coming up, but it's up to you whether this is important enough to stay in the findings. I see Banny saying no.
Well,
I don't think it's necessary.
yeah,
Okay.
anybody else have any feelings one way or another? on
Cross it.
yeah, I just didn't, yeah, I just thought it was odd
Okay.
that it was
just
in
add.
there and instructive, the word instructive in this sentence didn't
Okay.
make sense to me, so we can strike
Okay.
the whole thing.
David Ledoux, next paragraph then, David Ledoux testified that the Maine MRS reviewed data for 2012 assessments
And you're missing a word there.
I think it should be, and concluded that the town's assessment methodology was sound and acceptable. This,
Strike in the,
In the,
yes, strike in the.
mhm.
This is evidenced by the favorable quality rating, in quotes, assigned to these assessments. The quality rating, also referred to as the coefficient of disbursement.
And that's dispersal, I believe.
Dispersion.
Dispersion.
Okay, we got disbursement, dispersal, and dispersion.
we have to refer to as anything?
We could just,
Put this one we
is
removed.
it dispersal? Anybody?
I think it is dispersal from a statistic standpoint, but I'm not sure in this.
Can we stipulate it's a dispersal?
I'll take dispersal
He's
over
he's on there on this,
Dispersion.
Okay. Do you wanna just,
Can we just remove
Either
that whole?
we're taking that out.
Strike that
We don't
whole
wanna have an
part?
appeal based on.
Either way, disbursement refers to payment, so I don't believe it.
We're gonna get a transcript of this time.
Right, that the board couldn't even decide how to, it was dispersal, dispersal.
Right.
This parenthetical note.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Can we just
But
delete
yes,
that?
I've already done it.
Okay.
The quality rating is a mathematical
There we
formula
go.
used by MRS to review local assessments for overall accuracy and compliance with state legal standards. We agree with that?
First paragraph of our appeal, we're all set.
Right, you've got your headline. The BOAR, this is the next paragraph, found the quality rating improved following the reassessments of appellant's properties as evidenced in Town Exhibit 4B.
Yep, that's good.
Okay. All right, 13. The town's evidence regarding paired sales or sales of the same property, such as 2 Jocelyn Road, further supports the conclusion that waterfront sales remain strong between the years 2006 and 2011.
Well, you have the word values in there. So my thing says waterfront values.
It does say, further supports the conclusion that waterfront values,
Okay.
remain strong between the years 2006 and 2011.
Okay. I thought you said sales, I'm sorry.
I probably did. I
did.
apologize.
Okay.
Do you want me to change it to sales?
No, values.
No,
is good.
values
Yeah.
is good. I like
Okay.
values better.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
While the 14, well, it's not actually, it's 14 here, the number's gonna read it. While the testimony of David Ledoux and the report of MRS support the 2012 reevaluation of appellant's properties, the BOAR is not relying exclusively upon any of this evidence in making its findings and decision in this matter.
Perhaps upon any one piece of evidence.
Okay?
It's a matter of,
Where do you,
Instead of saying this evidence, and say, not relying exclusively upon any one piece of evidence in making its findings and decision in this matter. Maybe I should say findings and conclusions
I would say that's conclusion.
in this matter. Okay?
Will you repeat that whole thing?
Okay, while the testimony of David Ledoux and the report of MRS support the 2012 reevaluation of appellant's properties, comma, the BOAR is not relying exclusively upon any one piece of evidence in making its findings and conclusions in this matter.
Good.
The BOAR 15 accepted as credible testimony
From the current assessor.
from the current assessor, William Healy, that when questionable sales were excluded from Mr. Koudalakis' analysis, the assessment ratios came closer to 100% and the quality ratings improved.
Yeah, I think you have on number 17,
Yeah,
I think that says the same thing as 15.
okay.
No, just because we can probably
Yeah.
scratch that whole one.
Yeah, I'll just get rid of 17.
Good.
Let me just read this again. The BOR accepted as credible evidence the testimony. Oh,
Credible
I'm
testimony.
going to take out the word "the."
Yeah.
The board accepted as credible testimony from the current assessor.
I mean, if you want to change it altogether, you can say the BOAR accepted the testimony of the current assessor as credible.
That's probably better. That is better. The testimony from the current assessor. From the current assessor, William Healy, as credible, comma, that when the questionable sales, should have a comma?
I don't know. No, now that we include that secondary statement at the end of it, I don't know if it makes sense anymore.
I thought you were following on your, you're doing it right, yeah, I thought maybe you were checking your messages there the whole time.
I don't have friends.
William Healy as credible, so Alex has suggested we move the as credible to after William Healy's name.
Yeah, that doesn't, yeah, but I see what he's trying to get at, but the rest of the sentence gets a little bit twisted.
Yeah.
So you're withdrawing that. That we are accepted
Yeah.
as credible. We'll just go back the way it was. That's okay with
How
everybody.
about the board of assessment review accepted testimony from the current assessor, William Healy.
With regard to the questionable sales.
How about accepted the testimony as credible?
No.
No, accepted as credible the testimony from William. I like that where you have it.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the way it was.
Yep. Okay. All right, read it one more time.
Okay. The BOR I should just call it like everybody else does, BAR, accepted as credible the testimony from the current assessor, William Healy, that when the questionable when the questionable sales were excluded from Mr. Kudalakis' analysis, the assessment ratios came closer to 100% and the quality ratings improved.
Fine.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Next numbered 16. The BOAR did not accept the testimony of the appellant's expert witness, George Kudalakis, or real estate broker Leslie Craig, as persuasive enough to rebut the assessor's analysis. Mr. Kudalakis' testimony did not include an analysis of all relevant factors connected to the two property sales, such as estate sales and whether the properties had substantial renovations. He also omitted relevant comparable waterfront sales without an adequate explanation. His conclusions appear to conflict with his own appraisal of property located at 16 Jocelyn Road, Town Exhibit 10.
That should be comma, Town Exhibit 10, or
As shown.
As shown in Town Exhibit 10?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm okay with all that? Everybody? All right. We'll strike the next one.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the repetition there. The BOAR did not accept as persuasive the testimony from Leslie, and I think Leslie is Lesley, Craig, that
Can you check her spelling on the name of the website?
I'm pretty sure is,
Pardon? It is? Okay.
yep. The BOAR did not accept as persuasive the testimony of Leslie Craig that the properties in the Piper Shores area were comparable in nature to Prouts Neck waterfront properties. The BOAR accepted her testimony that there are a number of private sales at Prouts Neck, but did not agree that this meant that they were not arm's length transactions. She did not present credible evidence that any private sales were entered into unwillingly or the result of undue pressure.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm okay with that. Anybody, any,
1 second.
all right?
Okay, next number, 19. The board agreed with the testimony of the assessor based upon his 29 years of experience as assessor for the town that there was insufficient sales data to justify increasing the assessment of properties near the Piper Shores retirement community.
I don't think it should be a question of how many years he's been doing the job as opposed to the methodology that is standard for assessing practice.
So you want to just strike out the number of years of experience?
Yeah, and replace it with based upon something
His
concerning the
analysis.
something concerning the assessing methodology, because we're addressing the fact that this is a discrimination case.
Okay.
I kind of like to keep his experience in there as well. I think we could add both.
How about based upon his 29 years of experience as assessor with the town and expertise in assessing analysis, or something like that?
Based upon you could say based upon his 29 years of standard assessing methodology.
Okay.
Keep the time on there, but make it a question of the equitable practice.
Okay. Fair enough. Based on his 29 years of
Standard assessing methodology.
standard assessing methodology for the town,
That sounds good, yeah.
that there was insufficient sales data to justify increasing assessment of properties near Piper Shores retirement community.
Got it?
Good, the rest of that good?
Yeah.
All right, George?
Prouts Neck is a unique and exclusive neighborhood with its own amenities, such as the golf course, beach club, and yacht club, which enhance the values of the properties located there, unlike those in the Piper Shores area.
Does that need to be separate from the previous, well,
Good.
The BOAR found, I think it should be that the Piper Shores properties are generally larger tracts of land located a significant distance away from the Prouts Neck amenities and therefore not equivalent to the appellant's properties. Okay?
Yep.
The BOAR concluded that the Cecile Carver sale, map 101, lot 20, in the Piper Shores area, which closed in April 2012, after the April 1st assessment date, as a single sale is insufficient cause for a general revaluation of waterfront properties in the Piper Shores area. The assessor's decision not to increase assessments on Piper Shores area properties,
The Piper Shores area property?
on the Piper Shores area. Should there be an
On the property.
apostrophe after Shores?
How about on the properties in Piper Shore area?
Okay, on the properties in the Piper Shores area was well reasoned and does not result in unlawful discrimination towards the appellants. The BOAR concluded that the assessor's appraisal techniques were thorough and well-grounded in expert assessing methodology. Assessments were not reduced or increased based merely upon one sale or sales where special circumstances may have influenced the price, such as significant renovations or an estate sale.
Good.
Based upon the market data confirming that the assessment ratio for waterfront properties at Prouts Neck, based upon the market data confirming that the assessment ratio for waterfront properties at Prouts Neck was significantly less than other areas, the assessor was compelled to make these revaluations. It was inequitable for the Prouts Neck waterfront properties to receive a benefit which is not enjoyed by other properties in town, or would have been inequitable. Or was,
Yeah,
It would be inequitable.
would be.
And should there be a space between by and other?
Yes.
My copy of it here doesn't have it.
It's, mine doesn't either. Yeah, right here. Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay. The assessor did not use systematic or intentional methods to create a disparity in valuations, and further,
Strike that.
the methodology or assumptions relied upon by the assessor were not unfounded or arbitrary. The BOAR found that the assessor's excess land policy, under which the abutting lot in single ownership is assessed at a significantly lower rate, is not unusual to the town of Scarborough and is employed in other towns. The BOAR's primary concern about the policy was that the second lot reduction must be requested and that this policy may not be widely known in town.
Do we want to include something about the fact that the practice is basically sanctioned by the state and not just in practice by the towns without the state's knowledge?
A significantly lower rate is not unusual to the town. Let me just read my last, okay.
I'd like to add, that is not unusual to the town of Scarborough and is similarly employed in other towns. It's not exactly employed
Okay.
the way that we do it.
And
This
sanctioned by the...
practice is also recognized by the state.
Okay, add that as a separate sentence.
Yes.
This practice is also recognized by MRS. The BOAR's primary concern about the policy was that the second lot reduction must be requested and that this policy may not be widely known in town. Based upon the record evidence, the BOAR concluded that the actual impact of this policy was minor and did not make the assessments discriminatory.
You want to read that?
based upon the record evidence.
No, the whole thing, over.
Gotcha. The BOAR found that the assessor's excess land policy, under which the abutting lot in single ownership is assessed at a significantly lower rate, is not unusual to the town of Scarborough and is similarly employed in other towns, period. This practice is also recognized by MRS, period. The BOAR's primary concern about the policy was that the second lot reduction must be requested and that this policy may not be widely known in town. Based upon the record evidence, the BOAR concluded that the actual impact of this policy was minor and did not make the assessments discriminatory.
That's good.
Next number, appellants did not meet the high burden of proof necessary to establish discrimination. Appellants did not prove the town's assessment system by its nature will result in unequal apportionment of the town tax burden, or that the assessments in this case were manifestly wrong. The BOAR concluded, based upon all of the evidence, that the assessments were equitable. While not an exact science, the BOAR found the assessor made appropriate adjustments to the appellant's properties to provide greater equity town-wide. The BOAR authorized Chairman Peoples to sign this notice of decision.
Okay.
Just want to be clear, does anybody have any comments on any of these or further changes? I just want to make sure, rather than voting on these individually, we're going to do them as a block. I just want to make sure no one wants to break these down any further, or...
Well, I think we broke them down individually as you went
Okay.
through them, so, I mean, I think and I gave everyone an opportunity to have
You did.
input as we went through them, and hearing no other, unless anyone has other further input on this, I think it's probably, best just to have a motion to accept
The findings
these findings as amended.
and conclusions.
And conclusions, finding of facts, and,
Then there'll be a note followed by a vote on the appeal. 2 votes.
and what was the second one?
That whether to
Yeah. Okay, why don't we,
accept or deny the appeal.
so I would like, entertain a motion that we accept these, finding the facts here as reviewed and amended.
So moved.
Thank you. Any, a second?
Second.
Second. All right, any further discussion on this? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, none opposed. Thank you. And now we need another motion to deny the consolidated appeals of the appellants. Have a motion on that, please?
I'll motion to deny the appeal.
Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Alex. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor of denying the appeal? All right, that will be unanimous, 5-0. Thank you very much.
So what I'm going to do is make those changes, email them to Tracy tomorrow morning, and then, Ellen, you can get by the town hall like you do and sign them. Okay, Tracy?
I will.
And then, Tracy, will you email it to all of us once Alan signs it? Great.
All righty, and we dealt with that. Okay, we dealt with that. Do we have any other new business coming before this board? Do we have any stragglers out there, I guess is, we've had
Next year.
stragglers.
It's always next year.
Do we have some for next year?
Do we have any, I don't think we have any more before this board, I believe. This is kind of
All right,
it.
because the other one has been deemed denied.
That one,
Correct.
Shaw, has been deemed denied.
Deemed denied,
And I think the
okay.
other ones have settled, we've had a couple of things settled privately, I think. Timpson, I believe, right?
Timpson,
Timpson,
got settled.
okay. All right, hearing no other business before this board, I have a motion for adjournment.
I'll motion to adjourn the meeting.
First, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned. Thank you all very much for organizing.